ladies and gentlemen, in ancient Greece. There was a guy called Xenophon. But unlike his friends, Plato and Aristotle, he wanted to follow the real life. He wanted to be a man of action. So he went to join an army of Greek mercenaries and fought in Persia. After many victories, after a specific big victory, the leaders of this team of mercenaries met the Persian enemies in a tent to negotiate for a settlement. It was a trap, and all of them were killed. So this left this small army of people in a terrible situation, in a situation of crisis. Xenophon was one of the officers elected by the troops at their lowest moment to replace their murdered leaders. In his speech to the men, instead of saying, "Listen to me, and if you don't listen to me, you are going to be lost," he said, "Our leaders are gone. All of us, we need to become leaders. Instead of one leader, we need 10,000 leaders." The story of this great journey of going back home, fighting through enemies and through hardship at every step, is called the Anabasis, or the uphill march. Peter Drucker said it was his favorite leadership story. In 2014, all of us, we heard, we lived, we were affected somehow by a lot of crisis situations. Like Xenophon, we live in very challenging times, where the possibility of one of our organizations to be in a catastrophic crisis are quite high. And in that case, we all need to march uphill. Is it going to be a financial or an organizational avalanche? Is it going to be a natural disaster or a cybersecurity breach? Nobody knows. How we can prepare in the best possible way our organizations to be able to deal with such phenomena that are very low probability but very high impact, that can destroy whatever accomplishments we're trying to make? My answer is maybe not earth-shattering, but I believe is worth sharing. We need to do what anyhow we need to do as leaders to develop our people and to make high-performing teams. In Ukraine, I want to talk a little bit about my management team. There were 11 of us in the immediate team, but I would like to focus on 3. This is Tatiana. Tatiana comes from Ukraine. She's a very people person, very intelligent and very ambitious. She's got a lot of contacts in the country. This is Roman. I met him in Ukraine. He was a CEO of a small local company, and I recruited him without having a job, without having a position. I liked him so much, I recruited him. Half of his mind wanted to leave the country and coming back to US, and the other half wanted to join the army and fight. Artem is rough, he is unpolished, he looks aggressive, but when you get to know him better, you discover that he has great leadership skills and a big heart. Artem is Russian. He was perceived as the enemy. So this gave him a lot of burden on his back, and maybe it was one of the elements that made him stronger to help us within the crisis. And that was me. When I was named managing director for Philip Morris Ukraine, I was really excited. I was very privileged and very proud of this job because it was one of the 10 most important regions in the company. So I came to this job with a lot of passion, a lot of ambition. I wanted to win. I wanted to make something big. Although I didn't know anybody in the organization, I didn't know the language, the culture, the history, nothing. I believe I did what everybody of you would do in this situation. I put together some vision. I put some priorities. I changed a little bit of things. I gave them something new to do. But I knew it was not enough. In order to make a big change, you need to touch the core. You need to touch the management team. You need to touch your team. So to do so, I invited a team coach to look after our team, to tell us what we need to do, etc., etc. So I invited Phil. And he made an assessment for our team, and we scored like a very much average, I would say average to low team. And he set us into a path of becoming what he's calling category 1 type of team. So we committed ourselves. I put a lot of emphasis into spending time together. I wanted to give to the team this atmosphere of being inviting, being friendly, being open, being democratic, far different than before. And things started quickly to change. So performance reversed, people feel very energized, the whole apathy was gone, everybody wanted to be part of this team. It was a great moment. Things were moving. So 9 months after, Phil came again. He understood that the more tensions we were receiving from the outside environment, the better we became as a team. So he suggested us, by the time he left, that you guys, you need to take a crisis management case study. Ironically, a few weeks later, of November 2013, things were getting worse. Did you know that the word crisis is Greek in origin? It means two things. One meaning is the obvious, it means upheaval, chaos. And the second meaning, it means judgment and discernment. In December, we canceled our annual Christmas party because we were afraid that the people who would come to the capital of the country and they would join the protests in Maidan Square, and we felt as a team that it would be extremely dangerous. This day, 3 protesters were killed, shot down by snipers that they were hidden in the rooftops of Maidan Square, 2 bullets every time, 1 in the neck, 1 in the heart. And the 4th protester was found later on tortured and dead in the woods. It was the first time, it was the first day we met together as a team to decide what would be our next steps. The first thing we did is we sent everybody home with taxis or with company cars. The next days and the next weeks were terrible. At some point, after that, police and militia were starting shooting people in the streets. 67 people were killed and few thousands were wounded. Our first and most important priority was safety and security of our people. The second, far behind the first, was to preserve as much as possible what we were calling business as usual. And in my mind, I had a secret third priority. I felt that in order to come out of the situation, you need to have a very strong team. And maybe the situation itself, it would be a catalyst for the team to develop faster. First, we tried to change the emotional temperature of the team. Crisis breeds anxiety. I call that the fog fear. There are terrible moments that people are thinking of their families, of themselves, of their safety, of their security, of their lives. And I've seen it paralyzing organizations, this fear and this stress. And these people, at the same time, they need to do their jobs, they need to follow their responsibilities. It's hard. The antidote to this, according to my opinion and my experience, is to help people feel safe, secure, and supported. The way our people were watching us as a team was extremely important. We had to look like calm, decisive, but at the same time, we should not feel like distant and cold, because ideally we would like to open the hug and put everybody inside and let them tell our fears and our worries and calm them down and give them some good advice. At the end of the day, we were not, as a team, as individuals, we were not superheroes, we were human beings. I remember one night, I woke up with sounds of explosions, and I was scared. I thought, God, the war started, and I was sweat, and I went to the window, and I would look outside of the window, and it was fireworks. And I laughed at myself, and at the same time, I wanted to cry because it was so stupid, and so, at the same time, so serious. We tried to spend time together. We tried to give silly stupid like games, like billiards, to stay there and to feel better. The more time we were spending as a team, the better we became. We call that 10th time. The second thing we did, we tried to give this notion of what-if machine. In a crisis, you cannot predict anything. Chaos is the norm. So we learned to think quickly, try to develop contingency scenarios, count the output of these scenarios, and move on. Artem was particularly good in counting and calculating the outputs of these contingency scenarios. What I tried also to do personally, something that Jim Collins yesterday said that looking at the mirror instead of looking at the window, I was trying to take, and it was clear to the team, full responsibility of failure myself and give to them full credit of any success that we would have. So this led the team to feel more relaxed, the pressure to be more released, and to make faster and better decisions. The third time we kept everybody super informed. Tatiana was bringing news from the field, what's happening outside in the areas, the territories, geographies, different provinces, etc. Roman was our political intelligence. He knew every time what's happening in the political environment. We kept the lines of communication across the whole organization open. People are better off if they are well informed and they know exactly what's happening. And also people are getting stronger if they know the truth. The last thing we do, the fourth thing we do, is we gave the team as much responsibility as we could. In every moment, different people were coming in front and they were taking initiatives and they were the leaders of the moment, the leaders of the activity. I remember our information system director became the technological tactician. I never enjoyed more the diversity of a team. They were flourishing every day. In July 2014, a team of us, including Tatiana and Artem, went in our headquarters to present our commercial plans. Beyond everything, I was happy because I kept my organization intact. Towards the end of this presentation, some more bad news came to us. A Malaysian airliner flying over Ukraine, coming from Netherlands, was shot down with approximately 300 people dead, few miles away from our factory. Tragic. Believe it or not, normal for us. So the team came together, they prepared a plan, and in a matter of minutes, we knew how we should react. And I was watching them doing their stuff, doing their calculations, their debates, and I was feeling, so happy because I understood that they don't need me anymore. Right? I was not needed at all. And this is the essence of my story. This is the essence of what I want to communicate to you. Usually, leadership stories are all about the leaders. And very rarely, they are describing about their teams, only maybe as an afterthought. And for me, this is so profoundly wrong. Phil came back to us in October 2014, and he measured us for the third and last time. And he found out that we became a Category 1 team in a world record. Our organization acknowledged this improvement of our team and actually created a promotions for the people that were participating in this fight. Tatiana became a managing director of Argentina, one of our most important places in the company. Roman was selected to participate in a high-profile seminar, and he's in his way to become a managing director. And Artem became a sales director, replacing Tatiana, and he still lives in Ukraine. He's Russian, and he leads 500 Ukrainian people, which all of them, they believe that he's genius, he's a great leader. And that's a big achievement. We live in a place and a time that crises are likely to happen to almost all of us. My answer on how we can prepare our organization best is to try and build exceptional teams and exceptional leaders. Xenophon would agree with me that out of one, we need 10,000, but maybe 11. Thank you very much.